Welcome to Stock Talk. This is your host, Scott. Hope you had a good week in trading. Closed out the market pretty good as far as the portfolio goes this week. We're able to actually get some cash on the sideline. That's one of the goals that we've been trying to do. We were kind of low on cash. So we are back up to a 33.34% level. I did sell a couple of stocks. We're going to talk about that as we look at the portfolio. Actually sold them probably a little bit too early as usual, but we got some money out of them, and that was kind of the goal. One of them we did get our 6% on, a little bit more than 6%. So we'll talk about that as we look at the portfolio. Novavax had a pretty good week, but today was off a little bit. But overall, I think it did pretty good for the week. We'll take a look at the 5-day chart on that to see. But I appreciate the subscriptions. Don't forget to subscribe if you like the video, and like the video as well if you like the content. But we're just going to go over our portfolio and kind of talk about our plans for the next week. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so here's the portfolio for the week, and you'll notice I did add one on the top here. That's just the Bitcoin price. Since we have some stocks that are tied to the Bitcoin, I do hold Bitcoin myself, but also are holding some stocks here that have to do with Bitcoin. So I wanted to go ahead and put that on there so we can kind of see how that relates to what these stocks do. And so we won't go over the Bitcoin price itself a whole lot. We'll take a look at it, but nothing major there. We'll focus on the stocks. All right, so, but there's Bitcoin. It is down for today. It did start out and was up for a little bit this morning, and you can see the little chart here. It did go down, but of course that affects our stocks that are impacted by Bitcoin. But I do want to show you this for the week on the Bitcoin price there. You can see we've got a downward trend from about 35 all the way down to 32, but it can do that in a day, and it does that often in a day. If you look here at this day range, you see 31,000 to 35,000 in a single day. So it just kind of, it goes all over the place. It's a very volatile stock. The trend is down. If you go ahead back 6 months, you'll see we got up here at one time, I think it was around 64,000, and it's gone down here to 32,000. But that's just a quick look at Bitcoin. Now let's take a look at our stock. First one on the list is HUT. And HUT is a Bitcoin mining company, and you can see it was down today. But let's take a look and see what it's done this week. Now, Bitcoin was down for the week, so let's see what this one's done. It actually is probably up just a tad, if anything, but yeah, just a little bit. So we'll take that. If we can get an up week on any of our stocks compared to Bitcoin being down for the week, then we're happy with that, especially happy with that. All right, so that's good for us, even though it's down today. We did make a little progress this week on that one. Tesla does hold some Bitcoin, but it's not anything major as far as their balance sheet goes, like MSTR. So it doesn't really get impacted a lot by that. Now, Tesla is something we did sell. We had a pretty large stake in it. And as a matter of fact, we sold yesterday, I believe it was. Yeah, we sold yesterday, or let's see, we sold, I think it was the day before yesterday. Let's see here, Thursday, and then Friday. Yeah, we sold on Wednesday with this big pop here. We sold, I think it was 657, I think it was. So somewhere we sold 657. We might have sold early Thursday, but I think it's what we sold it was 657, and this thing actually went on up to way up here to 695, 696. So we did sell a little early, but it did pull back a little bit today. But it's still higher than what we sold at. But hey, we made 6.56% in one account and 7.23% on another account, and we only had that in Tesla for about a month or so. So I think we started buying at 5.11 and bought until 6.3. So some of it we didn't even have a month. So that, and again, it was a pretty good sized stake. So we wanted to go ahead and make that money, and of course it does like it often does. It goes up the next day, even though, or even more that day. So that's the way it works sometimes. But hey, you got to be happy with a 7% return in a matter of a month. So especially on a good sized stake. So we're happy with that. We did get some cash on the sideline. Again, we've got our cash back up to the 33% level now, and so that's much better than it was. MSTR is related to Bitcoin. They keep all of their money in Bitcoin, and they've been borrowing money to buy Bitcoin. They were down today, a pretty good whack there at 5% or so. But let's take a look at the 5-day chart on that. Yeah, so the 5-day chart, you are down for the week, just about like Bitcoin here. So we can expect that. They had a pretty good thing going before that. They had a little bit of a trend going up, yeah. See, we were going up pretty good, and then, of course, this week got us pretty good. So, but that's okay. We are going to hang on to that. It's impounded by Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's in the bear market right now, so we can expect these not to do very well. U.S. Steel, I think U.S. Steel had a pretty good week. I'm not holding any of that, but let's go ahead and take a look at that week. Today it was down, but there was some infrastructure talk yesterday. You can see the big spike, and then shortly after that spike, it fell off. So that didn't last long. I think it's headed back down. It was getting down to this good level here, 23, 21, 22, 20. That'd be a good place to start nibbling, but we're not worried about that one right now. Novavax. Now, Novavax, I'm anxious to see how it did for the whole week, but it seemed like it had a pretty decent week. But today it did pull back a little bit. But let's go ahead and take a look at that 5-day chart. Notice the volume, though. The volume's been really nice. You can see there's heavy volume right here at the beginning of the morning, and then a lot of volume picking up as it dropped down here. So, but I like the volume. I just don't like the way it acted today. But let's take a look at that 5-day chart. Yeah. So you had a pretty good week, and that's why we've had a good week in the portfolio, because of this and Tesla and what those two did. So that's why we were able to sell Tesla as well. But 175 up to about 190, that's a pretty good week. It actually got up here. You can see here today it actually went, the high was 202.38. So that's where I'd like to get above the 200 range before we have the next catalyst, which should be some kind of approval. One of these countries should get some kind of approval, hopefully. But you see the big spikes here. That's nice to see those big volume spikes. So once that volume starts picking up, that's a good thing. But yeah, that's a good day. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It started the day out pretty good. If you go look at the 1-day on it, you see here it started out really good. Got up there all the way, like I said, to 202.38, and then they just knocked it down the rest of the day, and there was no buyers to be found, and it just kept dropping. So that happens sometimes. We are above that 185 range, which was a range I was hoping we'd get above and stay above. So far, we've done it. So that's good. Hopefully, next week we can get above that 200 range and stay above it. That would be nice. So we can get above it, but we just got to hold it. That's the hard part. Now, here's the big winner for today is Space. I call it Space, but it's Virgin Galactic Holdings. It's a SPAC. Big jump today. Got all the way up actually to 57.29. And I did sell kind of early on this one this morning. My main reason was I just wanted to get my cash out of it because I've been holding this one 4 months or so, and I really just wanted to get my cash. So we ended up making a little bit on it. We made 1.88% in 4 months. It's still going to be the CD anytime you can do that. And also had a pretty good stake in this one too, so that helped us get that cash level up there. It wasn't a tremendous size stake or anything. It wasn't near the size what I had in Tesla, but this one was a pretty good little stake. So glad to get that cash on the sideline. And you know, it's had a good jump here today, you see, and it was trending up a little bit, but nothing like what it did today. And the reason it did today was because they did get approval from the FFA, let's see here, FAA, I'm sorry, to fly passengers to space. You see that here. So that was good news for them. They did take a good jump off of that, and did come off the highs a little bit. But hey, we're out of it now. So, and you'll notice our list getting smaller. A lot of these we don't. That one we don't own. So, but I'd like to get my list smaller. I'm trying to get into cash. I really feel like there's going to be some kind of pullback July and August or so. But you know, you listen to everybody on TV, and they kind of think it may just keep going. But man, I just don't see how it can just keep going like it's going. But it's just like today, we're setting new records. I think the NASDAQ pulled off at the end there, but yesterday closed a new record. I think NASDAQ and the S&P. So, you know, that can only go on for so long, and then you got to have some kind of pullback. But I want to get into cash. At least the next 2 months, kind of focus on getting into cash. TLRA, pretty flat day. I think it had a decent week. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, pretty good week here. Up 1650 to about 820. So we'll take that. That's a pretty good week for them. And that didn't hurt our portfolio any either. Okay, nothing to sneeze at. Nicola's been doing pretty good, pretty flat today, but let's take a look at the 5-day. I think it's been doing pretty good. Let's take a look. Yep. So it's doing about like Tilray there. It's 15, 16, up to 18. So that's a nice little week. So there's a couple of other ones that have helped us this week. Just a good week overall on the portfolio. Almost closed on some all-time highs. We like to have those kind of weeks, but we just missed it because we had a pullback today, so we didn't close on the all-time highs. But we're in good shape as far as the overall. I was looking at the Dow. The Dow's up 12.51%. S&P's up 13.97%. The NAS is up 11.42% for the year. We're beating everything but the S&P. So the S&P's got us by a little bit, but we'll hopefully get them when this Novavax gets up there where it needs to be. We'll probably be ahead of them all if that does what I think it's going to do before the end of the year. So that's kind of what I'm counting on. There's been a couple of times I could have sold the cash account, and we were in the green pretty good on it, but I'm really holding out. I want to see if I can hold out till all-time highs, but if it gets up to 240, it's going to be hard to hold. I'll start peeling some off at that point. I'm pretty sure I will anyway. We may start selling the IRAs at that 240 level if it gets there anytime soon. Cash account, we're probably going to hang in there with that since we'd have to pay taxes on it. And we already are going to have a pretty good tax year this year, I think. So we don't, you can't lose money paying a tax man, really. So that's not a bad thing, but it's something, if you want to wait and sell one last, it's always best to wait and sell your cash account last, because, if you're going to pay taxes, you might as well pay as much as you can. So that's why I want to hold that to the end. But I'd like to hold it to a new time high. That'd be awesome if we can do that. That's over 300. But it's going to take approvals, and it's going to take producing these shots and getting into these people's arms. And so this talk about, how effective things are and all that, that's, that gets you a little pop, but it don't hold. So it's going to take these approvals now. So we got to get busy getting out there and putting shots in arms on the Novavax stuff. Talk is cheap at this point, Talk's not too cheap when you're first starting the vaccine, going through phase 1, phase 2. If you pass the phase 3, it's if you don't get it ever out to the market, then it doesn't do you any good. I mean, we got nano flu we've had for a year or two almost, and it has not been out on the market yet. So don't know. I guess this vaccine stuff has just kind of slowed all that down. But we got to start selling some things, and until they get their focus on that, which I think they do. It's just this is a big deal. There's a whole lot to it besides just creating the vaccine. You got to create, set up the manufacturing, get your supply chain set up, all that stuff. So it's a big deal, and there's a lot to it. They've hired a lot of people, and so I think they're doing what they need to do. It's just a slow process, and you just hope the clock don't run out before the process is finished. Okay, so that's where we're at on Novavax. Keep your fingers crossed on that one. As far as the rest, I'm still going to try to get into cash. We're pretty far out on a lot of the ones we're holding, so I don't know that we'll be selling a whole lot. Now, if I see something that's just too good to be true, I might jump on it with the cash, with some of the cash that we have. I'm really not in a hurry to buy a whole lot. I just want to. I'd like to close out the year. I mean, we're up, like I said, beating those two, and not quite beating that 13.97. So that kind of gives you an idea where we're at. And that's not a bad year, especially after the year we had last year. So we want to try to just maintain. If we can just maintain where we're at, and avoid any kind of big drops between now and the end of the year, it's going to be a good year. So that's what the game plan is. Just keep watching that Novavax. Be ready, because when it goes up, it can come right back down pretty quick. So, but if the news is an approval, I don't think it's going to peel off as quick as it has been, because that is a good sign that things are going to go forward. And but we'll see. They definitely won't be selling the news, because right now it hasn't run up enough to be even considering that for an approval. You definitely got to see those 240, 250, 260 levels on an approval, and anything along with that unexpected, or maybe more than one approval, then you're definitely probably going to see that 300 level, hopefully. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I've got money on. So, like I said, we're pretty much all in on the cash account on that. We've got a good stake in each IRA, so there's a lot of money out there riding on Novavax, and that's kind of what we're banking on the rest of the year. All right, so have a great rest of your week this weekend. Have a good weekend, good safe weekend. We'll check in with you probably Monday after the market closes, and see if we've done any trading. But until then, just hang in there and be safe. And thanks again for watching. And if you get a chance, don't forget to click this little button right here and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.